Finland's tax system is one of the worst tax systems in the world. In fact, I believe they have the highest income tax out of any country in the world. Their VAT is super high. It's generally not a place where you want to be if you are on a high income. Perhaps you have a remote business where you don't have to live in Finland and you don't love the country so much that it's worth paying 63% taxes. Then you probably should, and you probably have already, if you're watching this video, considered moving abroad to a place where you can pay more reasonable taxes. Because in Finland, like, let's be honest, sure, you get your healthcare and whatever, but if you're making 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 euros a month from your business, like, are you really using the public systems anyway? Probably not. And for those high taxes, you get a place that is not very business friendly. It's not a place where you want to run a business. You get awful weather. Like, I genuinely hated living there, mainly because of the weather, a culture that is not very ambitious. But luckily, Finland's tax system is reasonably easy to exit. They don't have exit taxes for now. They might introduce those later. They don't have citizenship-based taxation. And there's a reasonably clear process for you to exit the tax system if you're looking to leave. So today, as someone who did this, who did exit the Finnish tax system, I did it completely on my own. You can do it completely yourself. As a Finnish citizen, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, how to exit the Finnish tax system wherever you're looking to move to. And before we move forward, obviously, when you're exiting Finland, first you need to decide where are you actually going to go. If you're interested in options, I recommend you look at the channel. I cover a lot of different places around Middle East, around Asia that offer very reasonable taxes for a very good return on that money. In some cases like the UAE, where I mainly live, you can legally pay 0 taxes while getting the same infrastructure, even better healthcare, better safety, things like that, and obviously much better weather. If you're looking to relocate specifically to the UAE, you can book a call with my team down in the description. We help people like yourself, entrepreneurs, leave their home countries and move to the UAE. We will help you, connect you to tax advisors in your home country, in this case Finland, if you're exiting Finland and you do need an advisor, although it's not necessary. And then after that, we will set up your company for you. We will get your residence visa there, we will get your banking there, and essentially assist you through the entire process so that everything goes smoothly and you get full WhatsApp access to my partners throughout the entire process. You can book that free call where you can ask any questions you have if you're specifically interested in moving to the UAE. And for other countries, I have other partners with other countries around the world that you can find from the description of the channel. So generally, when you're exiting Finland as a Finnish citizen, by default, they have what is called the 3-year rule, which means that from the day when you leave, you actually stay taxable in Finland for 3 years at their full crazy tax rate, which is completely insane. But there is a way for you to exit the system immediately if you show the Finnish tax authorities that you have cut all of your ties to Finland. So what you want to do is apply to be treated as a non-resident in Finland. You need to do this. If you don't do it, it won't happen automatically and you will still have to pay those taxes. The way it works is that when you are sending your final tax return after the date when you leave, so essentially the next tax return after when you left Finland, in that tax return, there is a place in there, it's called like international affairs or something like that, where you can take a box to say that you are applying to be treated as a non-resident. And when you click that, it is going to show to you some documents that you're going to have to attach. And essentially here, you're going to have to show proof that you have cut all of your ties to Finland, because in Finland, you're treated as guilty unless you prove yourself to not be guilty. So then it's crucial to understand what are considered ties to Finland and how do you prove that you have cut them. We can actually see all of this information directly from the vero.fi website, the tax authority website, where essentially they show very clearly what you need to prove when you're exiting. And those are you leaving Finland permanently? And if so, what are the reasons? So basically what you're going to do is you're going to just write out some kind of a Google Doc. Like, this is literally what I did. I wrote out a Google Doc with answers to all of these questions that don't ask for any specific documents. And then you're going to attach that document with your answers, as well as the supporting documents for the ones of these points where they request them. So for this first one, you would just say, yes, I'm moving permanently. You have to say this, by the way. If you say, like, no, you're only moving temporarily, again, they're going to see, well, you're looking to come back, so really you should keep paying. So you need to say that you're moving permanently. Point number 2, what kind of permanent home do you have in the country where you go to? Where you need to show, for example, the deed of a purchase of a home or a rental agreement. So when you have moved to your new country, you're going to need to get either a rental agreement, ideally for a full year, to show again that it's permanent, not just like an Airbnb or something or a hotel, or if you bought a home, then show proof of that. And again, at the time when you're actually filling this application, you will already be living in your new country because the tax return happens around March or something like that. So let's say you leave in December, then in March is actually when you're going to be filling out this application. Number 3, are they willing to give up the dwelling they had in Finland? So essentially, if you own a place in Finland or you had a rental there, you need to make sure you do not have any home available to you in Finland. Number 4, do you still have property and assets in Finland? And you might be asking, well, if I have a property but I rent it out, is that still fine? And it might be, but this is kind of a subjective assessment. And ideally, to be completely safe, you would want to even sell your properties, even if they were rental properties, just to be completely safe. Now, if that is the only thing you have and you meet everything else, it should be fine as far as I understand. But if at all possible, just sell your properties, buy a property in the UAE, you're gonna get better returns there anyway. But in any case, you have to explain to them what assets, if any, you still have in Finland. Number 5, information on family relations and whether their family will leave the country as well. Now, crucially here, if your parents are in Finland, like that doesn't count as family for these purposes. Here what counts is only a spouse and children. So if you have a spouse or children still living in Finland, almost certainly they will reject your application. And this one kind of makes sense. Like if you still have kids in Finland who are going to the public school system, really you're still using the services of Finland, so you should still keep paying, or at least that is their view. So if you're leaving, you need to take your family with you. That is very important. Number 6, information on the coverage by the Finnish social security system / a certificate received from Kela proving that coverage has ended. So very importantly, before you leave, you need to inform Kela, the social security system, that you want to end the coverage by the Finnish social security system. If you're still covered by them, that constitutes a tie, which means you still have to pay taxes. And you need to apply for this, and then you need to get a certificate that you're no longer covered by them and attach them as part of this application. Number 7, documentation issued by the country where they are going to, proving their tax residence there and their liability to pay tax on their worldwide income in that country. So this is very important. And this is the criteria that means that you have to be moving to a country where you are going to get tax residence. So a lot of nomads, for example, they might want to live in a way where they don't even have tax residence anywhere, which is possible technically. But at least here at the case of Finland, when on the day when you exit Finland, for them to allow you to exit their tax net, you need to show that you have a tax residence somewhere else. If you go to a place like the UAE, this is very easy. After like 3 months, you can get a tax residency certificate. If you use our service, we can help you do that. Or where else you go to, if you go to Indonesia, if you go to Thailand or Switzerland or whatever, they will be able to provide you a tax residency certificate. You just need to find a way to get that from the government. Number 8, do they have plans to spend time in Finland in the future? Now, if you come visit, that is fine, but ideally you want to say something to the effect of, oh, I will only come to visit my parents or something. I do not want to spend significant time in Finland. And number 9, information on their future income from sources in Finland and from sources in foreign countries. You just want to explain where you earn your money. Ideally, again, you don't have any Finnish sourced income. Although if you meet all the other ones and you have, let's say, a business that you own passively, there have been court cases where it has been explicitly stated that having a business in Finland, if it is only owned passively and you're not actively running it, is fine. So it is fine to have a business in Finland if it is completely passive, but any major active involvement is probably going to constitute a tie. So that is how it works. And you might be wondering, well, given the fact that you only apply for this in March when you're giving the tax return, and given the fact that you also only get the results of this application around, I believe, September or October, does it mean that you only become non-resident when they actually fully confirm that this application to be treated as non-resident is approved? Well, no. If this is successful and they approve your application to be a non-resident, it is going to be applied retroactively, meaning that you will have been non-resident from the date when you actually left. And that is also explicitly said on this tax authority website. So what this means is that during the period, let's say you're already living in your new country, when you've left but you haven't got the results from this application, you will have this kind of uncertainty when you're not quite sure what if they reject you, and then you will actually have to keep paying taxes. So what you probably want to do is during that period is just minimize how much you pay yourself, just to be safe, just in case they come back and say, no, you still have to pay taxes. But most likely, as long as everything goes fine, from the date when you left Finland, you will no longer have to pay taxes. So that is how to exit Finland. Again, whatever country you're interested in, there are options out there. You can get residence permits in all kinds of Asian countries where they have perhaps territorial taxes, or just zero tax countries like UAE, for example, where you get much more value, especially as an entrepreneur, for your money. Finland is the kind of country that likes to tell you, we're the best, it's worth it to pay this. But is it really, especially if you're in that high earning category? At least for me, it wasn't. So at least now you understand how to exit the system if you're interested in doing that. If you want to hear my reasoning on why I left Finland, why it wasn't the right place for me, although it might be the right place for someone, you can watch this video right here. So watch that video next, and I'll see you in the next one.